What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. This is TWA Motorsports, and today it is freezing cold, guys. It is so cold out, especially since it was like 75 a couple days ago. It is now like 30 degrees, and it's spitting rain. It's so gross, but yes, I did buy another vehicle, as you can tell from the thumbnail. I've been tricking you guys for the last couple days, sending you pictures of something that it was actually not. No, I did not buy a Denali. No, I did not buy a dually, although I would love to have both of those. But we'll go out here and we'll talk about why I have those pictures. Obviously, in the thumbnail you were able to see it, but this is something that I've wanted to buy for a long time, and we'll talk about the story of going to get it. I drove 5 hours. My wife was not very happy with me because of this whole virus situation going on for me leaving the house, but I will tell you, me and my son were very safe. We wiped the gas pumps down everywhere I went. I didn't let him get out of the car. We peed on the side of the road. So I know that sounds crazy, but my wife didn't want me going in any gas stations, and hey, I understand there's some craziness going on right now. But I've been talking to this guy for a little while about this thing, and let's take a look at what it is. Yes, guys, it is another Tahoe. As some of you may or may not know, I did sell my 03 four-wheel drive Tahoe because I thought winter was over, and I think it is. I don't think we're gonna get any snow or anything. I've already mowed the grass a couple times, but a two-wheel drive, two-door Tahoe is something I've wanted for a long time. And I found one, and no, it's not in perfect shape, but honestly, guys, these things in perfect shape go for like 15, 16 grand, sometimes even more. And so I didn't want to spend that on one. I wanted one that was relatively rust free, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But first, I will say my buddy let me borrow his Denali truck, Duramax dually, and his trailer. This whole hauling setup is amazing. I wish I had this. I don't really have a use for it because I don't haul enough stuff. But I do already have a trailer, but I don't have anything to pull it with. So I could have used my trailer, I guess. It does need tires. It's been setting for a little while. But hopefully this will be my new trailer hauler, and we'll talk a little bit more about the plans for it and whatnot, because there's a huge imperfection on the other side, which I'll show you once I get it off the trailer. But anyway, I'm gonna set you up on a tripod. Let's get this thing off the trailer. It is a tilt trailer, so it makes it pretty easy to unload. I'm gonna unstrap it, get it off the trailer, and we'll walk around it and talk about kind of what our plans are, and all the imperfections, the things that need to be fixed, and so on. So guys, it's the next day, and I was hoping that it would be a little nicer. It's still kind of gross out, but it's at least warmer. It was just too cold, and I don't know if you guys could tell, but it didn't want to start on the trailer. So I just literally pulled it over here with the golf cart. That was one of the issues when I went to buy this thing, and it wouldn't start. So we get all the way down there. It's 5 hours. The guy said it ran and drove. We go to start it. The starter's messed up. So after being there for about an hour and a half, he decides he's going to take the starter off. Now, mind you, I showed up in a short sleeve t-shirt. When I left, it was like 60 some degrees. When I get there, it was like 29. And I told him, I'm like, I'm not crawling under this thing to replace the starter. It's just cold. I don't have a jacket. I don't have anything. It was in grass. I'm just not doing it. And he was willing to put a starter on it. So he crawled under the thing, put a starter on it. Hour and a half later, after it not starting and putting the starter on, he's got the new starter on. We go to start it. It doesn't want to start. And so at this point, it's like, okay, maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe I shouldn't be buying this thing. All the troubles we're having. So at the 2 hour mark, I told him, I was like, man, I'm just going to leave. Thanks for your time. He was not mad at all. Right after we said that, the thing fired up. So was able to drive it down the road. And guys, it's been setting for almost 2 years. So chances are it needs a tune-up, a filter, a fuel filter, oil change. It needs all that stuff. So that's probably why I'm having the issue. It ran and drove great once we got it started. So like I said, the guy was great, especially when I said I was going to leave. He didn't get mad that he had crawled under and changed the starter. Really stand-up guy, we'll say, guys. So anyway, on to the reason I bought this thing. So I've always wanted one of these Tahoes. I always thought they looked cool. They're different. You don't see them everywhere. A two-wheel drive, two-door Tahoe is really hard to find. I didn't want to spend a fortune on one. I wanted one that I could tinker with, show you guys some of the progress that we're going to do. And it's not going to be like I'm going to do this every video. So this is going to be just some nickel and dime stuff, a little bit at a time. Now the body work is something I want to get fixed immediately, and I'll show you guys on the other side in just a minute. But while we're on this side, the good looking side, the side with zero rust, because this was a Texas truck, the rockers are completely perfect, guys, all the way back. That's one of the reasons I looked for a truck south. So I went to OKC to buy this. This truck came out of Texas. When you buy stuff like that, obviously you don't have to deal with rust. They don't salt the roads, they don't get snow. So this is what I wanted. We'll go to the other side in the front and show you all the other things, but it has been lowered. So the back was lowered with leaf springs, which is not my favorite. The front has been lowered with DJM lower control arms, which I'm not a control arm drop, guys. I think those polyurethane bushings, they squeak over time. Not my favorite method, so that stuff will be getting changed for sure. It does have an aftermarket set of wheels on it. I believe they're Rocket Racing wheels is what it looks like to me. Maybe Koi. The center cap says something different, but pretty sure that's what they are. They're 17s. The chances are that the tires are bad since it's been setting so long. They're like brand new, but they're dry rotted a little bit from setting. Probably keep them on here for now. The suspension is really the last thing I want to work on. Now, he did remove the roof rack, which is something I would have done. Pretty sure, guys, I'm going to have this entire thing painted, and I'm not sure, but I'm like 99% sure that I'm going to have the whole thing painted. But on to imperfections on the rest of it. You can see that the bottom of the grill is broken, and it's actually a separate piece here, but that's a cheap part. We'll do that when we're painting. Bumpers are in decent shape. Chances are I'll probably replace those, but here's the big black eye. So he would let his son drive this thing, and it was sitting on the side of the road, and he said somebody ran into it. So before I even went down there or bought this thing, I sent pictures of this to my body shop guy, the same guy who painted my green truck. And I also sent it to the guy who let me borrow his truck and trailer, because they both do body work. And they said that would be a very simple fix. They could definitely do that. Now, it does go into the door jamb, but they still thought that it would be something they could fix relatively easy. It's not too bad here. And we may have to buy an entire panel just to get the patch panel that we need. But that's something, obviously, we're going to fix. So I'm not going to mess with trying to patch this in any way. I want a complete fix. And when I do it, chances are, like I said, I'll probably paint the entire thing. Now, it will definitely go back white. But that was the big black eye, like I said, of this whole operation. And then, you know, you can see a little ding back there. But as far as rust, the only two spots that I've seen rust, there's a little ding here, is there's a little spot of surface rust right here starting, and not a big deal. I will say that you can tell these things are always notorious for dragging on the taillight, so we're gonna have to address that. I may shave the taillight down a little bit, not really sure, but pretty common problem on these that they do that. I've heard that from a lot of people. Probably replace the back bumper. And I know I'm just adding stuff on stuff on stuff, but guys, this is, like I said, going to be a long drawn out project. It's not something that I want to take the place of any of the other stuff that I'm doing in there. Still going to do the old truck, still going to do the Trans Am, so I don't want you guys to think that I've given up on those other things because I bought this, but I have a sickness on buying cars, as you can tell. It's just nonstop, and it seems to be that I'm buying the stuff that I couldn't afford as I get older, stuff I've always wanted, and honestly stuff that's not too out of range as far as something you guys could buy and do yourself. But let's move on to the interior, because the interior needs redone too. It's not terrible. It needs a good cleaning for sure, but we're gonna have to do something with the seat. Obviously, seat's gonna have to be reupholstered. And chances are I'll probably reupholster both the front seats. The cool thing is my neighbor is an upholstery guy. While I'm doing that, the headliner needs redone. Other than that though, guys, it just needs a good cleaning. So everything else on the interior is good. Door panels are all in place. They're really dirty, but everything's there. As you can see, there's no rust in the bottom of the door and the rocker. Now, will there be if I don't get this fixed? Obviously, that'll eventually rust, but let's take a look and see in the back. Just needs a good cleaning, which we will do. Now, as far as anything else, the dash, pretty common that the dash is cracking these. It's got one crack there in the center. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do there. I think probably what I'll end up doing is just buying either the cover. I don't really like the carpeted cover, but they make another plastic cover that I might end up doing. I'm not really sure there yet. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think on that. Now, let's pop the hood and look under the hood. Little spot of paint. It's pretty common on these white ones. GM had some issues with their paint sticking in some spots. The only other rust spot is right here, and the guy said he was going to put a cowl hood on it. My guess is this thing had it may not have, but a lot of times if they put a bug guard on them, this is pretty common. Or if it rubs, and you can see it's rubbed, and it's just rubbed the paint raw and water setting on that. So that's just surface as well. It's really, really solid there. 350 Vortec. He said the transmission had been rebuilt. It's got a brand new battery. Other than that, I don't have a ton of plans under the hood as of right now. Now, granted, down the road, I would love to do an LS swap on this thing, but these 350 Vortec motors run really, really good. And if I can get it running like it should, which I think that'll be pretty easy with a good tune-up, I think we're just going to leave this in place for now. And maybe down the road when we get some of these other projects knocked out, we'll do an LS swap on this thing. Anyway, guys, so I think probably what you're wondering is what I paid for it. And so I paid $4,000 for it. And is that too much? It's hard to say, because I looked at several and it looked like for a let's say a lower mileage, like 120,000 mile one, they were going for about 10 grand, 8 grand to 10 grand in like pretty good shape. So still probably would have had some paint imperfections. So my thinking on this is that if you buy the thing for cheap, right? So you buy it for 4 or 5 grand, and then you put, let's say 3-4 grand in paint, you're gonna have perfect paint, as opposed to another one that probably has some nicks and chips and dings. So then let's say we put 3 grand in paint, so then we'd be at 7, and then we do the suspension stuff that I want to do, which is probably another grand, so then we'd be at 8. Probably swap out wheels and tires, we'll call that 9, and then all the interior fixes, we'll say 10. So the budget is around 10 grand on this thing. So I have about $6,000 to play with as far as making it the way I want it. Now, when I'm finished, I think that my $10,000 Tahoe will be better than any of the ones that I could have purchased that were already 10 grand. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I know that a lot of you guys are going to be like, why do you keep going older and older? Because it seems like I had a 16 Denali, and then I went to like an 09 Tahoe, and then I went to an 03 Tahoe, and now I'm at this is a 99 Tahoe. This is the last year of this two-door style, this body style in general. But it's something I've always liked, guys. It's something I've always wanted. I think these are cool. They're, like I said, when they're slammed, they got a cool set of wheels on them. Windows are blacked out. I just think they're one of the coolest looking things. You don't see them everywhere, and it's like that. Like I said, it's one of those things that I've always wanted, and I keep buying stuff that I've always wanted to own. But let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think? I've got to get on some landscaping. As you can see, I've got my work cut out for me, so you guys will be seeing that hopefully finished in some coming videos. I'm not going to show you guys my landscaping videos. Chances are it's just going to make me mad, so I won't show you that. And I'm hoping I can get my son and wife out here to help me. Anyway, if you do like this video, guys, if you think this is going to be a neat new project, please go down, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell icon while you're down there. That way you're notified every single time we drop a new video. And well, stay tuned to see this thing come together. I know it's going to take a while, and so bear with me. I'm not going to show you a video maybe even every week, but I'm going to do little things at a time to accompany all the other stuff that I'm doing. I know I have a ton of stuff going on, but stay tuned to see what we work on, fix, or sell, because we're not buying anything next.